Let's talk about protein. A lot of people talk about protein. In dietary recommendations today, they tell you should eat lean protein. Can't eat fatty protein because the fat will kill you. So you got to eat lean proteins. So this is another reason why people avoid beef, because it's got theoretically more fat in it than does chicken. So we eat chicken breasts and we eat egg whites. Ugh. Horrible. People do this themselves. They're completely diluted. So what does protein do? There is something called the specific dynamic action of food. This has been around for a long time, but we now have a better term for it called the thermic effect of food. People used to believe that protein caused the body to increase its metabolism significantly, so there was more concentration on protein consumption. But we now know from very sophisticated studies that have been done that the thermic effect of food represents maybe 5 to 10% of your caloric output per day, and there's no specific difference between protein foods and other foods. So that's the metabolic issue with protein. And you want to consume a normal amount of protein, but a significant portion of the protein you eat is converted into carbohydrate. Now, this depends where you are on the continuum between eating low carb and or high carb. Worst thing you could probably do is eat moderate protein, low fat. This is the thing that happens for a lot of people who become enamored with the low carbohydrate diet. They're still fearful of consuming fat. So they go on both a low carbohydrate diet and a low fat diet. This is probably the worst thing you can do. So this will mean that a significant portion of the protein you eat, upwards of about 66%, is converted by the liver into carbohydrate or glucose. And now that's available to go into your blood, bind to your proteins, causing you to become glycated, or you become glued together. That's what glycation does. One glycated protein binds to the one next to it, and next to it, and next to it, and you literally get glued together. And you can imagine what this does to your elasticity in different tissues. The elasticity in your lungs for breathing, the elasticity in your blood vessels so they can expand and contract rhythmically with the heartbeat. And that's very, very important that you maintain elasticity. And this is one of the problems with aging. And then these glycated proteins also eat holes in your brain. And we know now that Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and these other neurological diseases are coming from glycated proteins, although most doctors and scientists don't know this. They don't understand this because they don't understand the process of glycation, because the glycation theory of disease only came out in 1987, and it hasn't gotten any traction because we can't get over fat and cholesterol. So watch your consumption of protein. You're better off, in my view, with protein foods that have higher levels of saturated fat or animal fat in them, and that'll be a better choice, and that'll quiet down your hunger, quiet down your appetite, and cause you to eat less food and help you lose weight. And then if you combine that with appropriate calorie counting, which you really won't have to do until you get lean enough where the body's metabolism adapts to the lower body fat level, then that's the way to go about that. So that's the story on protein. You need a certain amount. You don't need a lot. Athletes do need more than others to meet the needs of replacing muscle tissue and building muscle tissue. I'm Dr. Greg Ellis, and that's the story on protein.